So something we talk about in our last session about this word craving. So what is really craving? So it's always Babuji likes to use this word craving as an desire to grow spiritually. So it's always craving happens because you already can see that aspect of what we want to become. See, suppose in the material world, we are looking for, let's say, I'm looking for more money. Why am I looking for more money? Because the comforts and luxury and the peace, money brings a lot of peace if it's in the right hands. The peace it can bring to my life. But most importantly, what money brings or the wellness, when we talk about wellness, we are talking about overall wellness. From a material perspective, from a physical point of view, and from a mental point of view, mental aspects. When I'm mentally balanced, when I'm materially balanced, when I'm physically balanced, I can say I'm spiritually balanced. Otherwise, it's very difficult to say I'm very spiritually balanced when one of these elements are troubling us. So now you kind of look at if you kind of go into the deeper aspect of this, I am having a craving for something because I see it already. Suppose if I am making $100,000, if I want to make $200,000, I'm always figuring out the ways to increase my yearly income. Correct? The same thing goes for business people or even regular office going people like us. We are always looking for something and we are planning for it. So when we are planning for it, in some way, we are indulged into it. In the other words, we are occupied mentally with it. When I'm occupied mentally with something, I can say I'm free for all other aspects except that, but my mind is engaged in it. So if you see all these religious prefects around, celibacy or around desirelessness, or, any of these good points, where there is some restraint has to be applied. What exactly it is indicating is if you are not looking for it, you are not engaged in it, that way you can utilize this time from some higher purposes. If I'm engaged in petty things, indulged in petty things, I cannot look forward for any higher purpose. I might be doing meditation regularly, but it does not give me the higher purpose. So when this higher purpose is created, and I'm constantly working through that condition of the higher purpose, or the condition, all these meditational practices which is creating, I work through it. I'm also looking forward to the next level and the next level. Then I can say the craving in me has developed, right? Otherwise, what happens is in this aspect of craving, we create this big image of the master, and we sort of engage with that image, but not with the spiritual condition. Then also you miss the bigger point of spirituality. So there also we need to strike some balance. Okay. So now coming to the fifth point with all that introduction, fifth point supposedly bring clarity in our life. All this introduction I'm giving is to define what is clarity. How do you bring clarity? Is it clarity in the decisions I'm making on the day-to-day life? Is it about the clarity around something else? So this clarity, we talk about clarity, but we don't understand what is clarity. So we don't have the enough clarity around the word clarity. Correct? So clarity is to recognize that I'm indulged in all these aspects of life and I need to make some time for the higher purpose. So I need to become free from all this day-to-day indulgences. And when we are at that fifth point, it brings that clarity into our system, because now this is the last point in our what is called Pinda Pradesh or heart region. So when we master this heart region, when we are coming closer to moving away from the heart region, I mean, if we don't have that clarity of the higher purpose, it's very difficult to move upwards. So if I have to show you from Daji's book on this aspect, I don't know, is that font big enough to read, or I can change the settings here?
I think it's good enough.
Yeah, okay. I can make it big. Okay.
Today is the 17th and we're on the 17th chapter.
Yes, 17th chapter of Spiritual Anatomy, the fifth chakra. So if you see the fifth chakra, again, all these elements of fifth chakra, air, fire, space, earth. So I mean, in our last sessions, I told you how to identify this, right? Without memorizing it. Suppose if I say, this is the fifth point. The fifth point, above the fifth point is supposed to be the next point after fifth. So if I'm in a circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then what is the next point? It's 1, correct? Then automatically this becomes 2, this becomes 3, this becomes 4. So the moment I remember fifth point, I need to know that the next point is this. Suppose if I am on fourth point, what is the next point after 4? So this becomes fifth. And then it's supposed to be 6. There is no 6, right? So this has to be 1 and 2 and 3, like that. So it's easy to identify the positions of the subpoints. Correct? Now, so the fifth point is an air element and the color is green. See, if you see about the traditional chakras, which are along the spinal cord, correct? The fifth point or the throat chakra, according to the traditional colors, is blue. But whereas we are identifying the fifth point around the same region, but the color is green. That's why there is a difference between the colors in the traditional chakras versus our heartfulness chakras. And somebody asked me why, why these colors to a chakra. Anyone wants to think about it? Why a color is associated with chakra? My simple answer is a color. So each chakra has certain vibratory level, a vibratory pattern. So where there is a vibratory pattern, it has certain movement and it has certain radiation, because all chakras are associated as an energy point, an energy prana distribution. So any energy have to have certain color pattern. And that's why the color pattern comes into the picture. Very simple answer. And if it is a vibratory, it has to have a frequency. If there is a frequency, don't you think it should have a sound also? So Babaji did say in his books that all these points have certain sound associated with it. So some perceive it, some don't perceive it. Personally, I never saw any color. I never perceived any color. So, but some people have that sensitivity or ability to perceive, right? So that's the chakra. And then going to the next point, and the location is throat, defining quality is clarity. So the main feelings are clarity, discernment, certainty, and confusion. You'll also see the opposite, and chaos and delusion. Like so at this fifth point, sometimes you might feel you want to be left alone. You want to be by yourself, because the fifth point is in being an air, quality of the air. It's very fickle. At the same time, the mental status is in flux. You see that we are experiencing confusion and clarity at the same time. The opposites. Depending on the state of our mind and the state we achieve in this fifth point, either there is clarity or confusion. And one more interesting thing we need to understand about this fifth chakra is we are not allowed to stay in our spiritual journey, unlike other chakras. So this is where, in spiritual anatomy, I don't know, when you are reading it, you won't understand this point straight. At the fifth chakra and also again the sixth chakra, we are not going to go through all the stages we experience like other chakras. So there is emergence, there is a balance. We're going to stay longer. Sometimes if you are not developing enough, we might stay in these chakras for months or weeks, depending, right? But when it comes to fifth chakra, no one is allowed to stay more than a couple of hours. Once you gain enough momentum at the other four chakras, right? Other four chakras. So when we talk about the other four chakras, so this is our first chakra, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Once we gain enough momentum for four, and then this is 6 and 7. This fifth and sixth are pretty much, we just have a pass through, and then we go to the 7th chakra straight. We are not going to stay in fifth or sixth chakra for a longer time. It's like we zoom through it in a couple of hours. Because staying at the fifth chakra for a longer time, it kind of, that flux of mind, flux state, brings a lot of fickleness. And when we come to the sixth chakra being there is a certain power which attracts us, it puts us in that lull state. And we don't want to come out of it. Right? It's just like that journey of the Odyssey, where he is stuck on that, what is that called? Lola land. And he doesn't want it. The attraction is very strong over there. You don't want to come out. You forget all other things. So that's why we are not allowed to stay in fifth and sixth. We directly get pushed to the 7th chakra. Right. So going back to the presentation. So we had kind of talked about the opposite qualities at the fourth point, love and fearless. Daji gave a very good brief run through of all these points. At the fifth, there's a recap if you read this. Our foray into the heart chakras started somewhat simplistic with a way of understanding likes and dislikes. From there, as you read about each chakra, understood their qualities, the conditions that you experience, you likely formed an image of a journey with neatly orchestrated itinerary. First, you develop acceptance, first chakra, then attain peace at second chakra. And on the foundation of acceptance and peace, you grow into love at the third chakra and courage at the fourth chakra. So having developed acceptance, peace, love, and courage in the lower chakras, you then arrive at the fifth chakra where you can begin to develop clarity. The clarity, the discernment of where we are trying to go, where we are, a journey is destined to versus where we are. So that clarity itself should create a lot of craving to move to the higher stages. Just like in the material world, we are seeking comforts and money because we are seeing the next level what I can get and the next level what I can get, right? Similarly, here we get the clarity about the spiritual states and our destination so that we can propel towards that destination, right? So that's about fifth chakra. Let's see if we can get some new points here. So experiences at the fifth point, we are talking about clarity and confusion, the both opposite qualities, because the entire heart region is all about the opposite qualities. But as we are going to this higher region conditions do not have any opposite quality. So that means we are going beyond the opposites. That's what it means. So I talked about sound. So there is a particular sound at every note. But Babaji said pretty much all the lower regions have the almost a similar sound pitch to it, and it is the loudest. So with slightly different as much similar. And it is known as once you master over all the five elements, it is also known as wisdom of five fires. Um, and one of the demons in the Indian mythology, Ravana, is supposedly have acquired full control over these five elements. Because we are running short of time, I'm not going to talk about Ravana. And we know how the points are going to look like. And the positives and negatives around fifth chakra, air element. So air is always flux. On the negative side, we don't know which direction it is heading. In the same way, our mind, our moods, our emotions also keep fluctuating at this point. And this is one of the reasons we are not allowed to stay in this point for a longer time. At the chakra 5, there can be a lot of illusion. When heaviness or emotional turbulences exist in the heart, the air element manifests and this confusion and illusion. Right? So these are the negatives. And then if we go into positives, So overall, the heart region qualities, I'm not going to get into it. And this is associated with what is called Vijnanamaya Kosha. So the koshas are the layers around the soul. We can do Shilpaji did the topic around the koshas, the lower being the Annamaya Kosha or the food sheath. So these are called sheaths. Vijnanamaya Kosha is known as the knowledge sheath. So the fifth point is associated with that. That's why it gives that clarity of the higher goal, because the fifth point is associated with the knowledge sheath. Vijnanamaya means knowledge sheath. So the mind comes into a complete witness state. Probably in our next sessions, I'll talk about what this witness exactly means. And there is a discernment, viveka, and vairagya means non-attachment. Like I said in the beginning, the indulging tendencies will go away. Vairagya, non-attachment, only means it's not that I'm going to leave my family, wife, job, and everything and become some ascetic where I'm not useful to myself and I'm not useful to the society. That's not what we are trying to become here in heartfulness. Here, vairagya detachment means our indulging tendencies will go minimum, lesser and lesser. The more these indulging tendencies go away, I'm free from these tendencies, and I have more time to use that for my upliftment, spiritual upliftment. See, what requires in spirituality is more time. The more time I get, the better I can do in my spiritual progress. And how you get more time, and you only have so much time, and we are always busy. But if my indulging tendencies are less, even while I am busy, I can still engage in the spiritual condition, engage with the spiritual condition, and keep moving towards my goal. And of course, when there is a clarity, there is self-awareness. And basically that ends the fifth point. I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? And then we can get into meditation. So everyone is silent, so I'll stop recording.